Here's a little diddly I like to call Shoobop-adeedlee-beebop.
Jazzy Froggy. Everyone has heard of him, but do we really know him? Tonight, we bring you the story of the frog, the myth, the legend. Apricot Jazzy Froggy McFabulous was born to Shoodly-dee-bop and Zippity-wah McFabulous in Bonanza, Georgia.
My childhood, it was like a fine spring day where the sky is blue, the air is clear, and everything is on fire. If I had to describe my home life in one word, it would be Shoobop-adeedlee-disaster.
Shoodly-dee-bop and Zippity-wah were constantly fighting. They brought Apricot into this world when they themselves were barely more than tadpoles. They hoped Apricot would be the frog that saved their marriage.
Apricot was my life, but Shoodly-dee-bop and I never loved each other. We tried as best we could to keep our marriage together for him. Looking back, I know now that we would have been better off to leave Shoodly-dee-bop. Apricot didn't need to see all that booze and at such an impressionable young age.
Strained by the stress of a crumbling marriage and a tadpole at home, Shoodly-dee-bop began to drink. Heavily. Frequently. Sloppily. Not even a year after Apricot's hatching, Shoodly-dee-bop was spending all of the family's money on liquor. He became a burden on the family, and was Apricot's first encounter with addiction.
If it weren't for Shoodly-dee-bop, who would I be? Could I have avoided the drugs, the alcohol, the pain? Maybe bop-a-doodle, maybe bop-a-doodle not.
Being the child of an out-of-control alcoholic father was too much for young Apricot. He tried to escape his home every way he could, ultimately spending time singing in nightclubs in the swankier parts of Georgia to avoid his parents. It was then that Apricot began to realize that jazz was his passion. However, residents of the nightclubs were suspicious of a young frog singing there. They didn't think he could understand their life experiences. They began to boo and shout at him. But once he started singing, the crowds always fell silent.
When he sang, he'd just captivate a whole audience. He's one of the most talented frogs of our generation.
It was the club scene that first introduced Apricot, now going by his stage name of Jazzy Froggy, to drugs. He began to do crack, heroin, ecstasy, and LSD.
I diddly-did them all. I sniffed airplane glue and in-flight magazines. I did uppers, downers, and inside-outers. I visited opium dens and meth rec rooms. I became addicted. Drugs weren't just a part of my life. Drugs were my life.
Even though his personal life was failing, his career was taking off. Jazzy Froggy caught the attention of record executive Richard T. Guy. Jazzy Froggy signed a contract with Rich to start work on his first album, fittingly titled A Doodly-dee-wop, Shoobop-a-dee, a bitty-bitty-bitty, bitty-bitty, beepop, a dee-dop, a doop, a doo-wop.
It was personal. It was raw. It was sung by a frog. The world had never seen anything like it before.
However, as his fame soared, Jazzy Froggy gained access to crazy music industry parties filled with drugs and alcohol. It was at one of these raging parties that Jazzy would meet a frog who would change his life. They instantly hit it off.
His name was Zippity-doo-bop Joe, and he was fan-flippity-doo-wop-tastic. I loved him right away.
Meeting Joe made Jazzy realize, after all this time of thinking he just wasn't the type of frog to be in a relationship, he was actually gay. News spread to other performers and his growing base of fans.
At that point, everybody knew Jazzy Froggy was a flaming street more.
Joe and Jazzy's bond grew stronger, and they attended every wild party they could. One night in Memphis, they got carried away and overdosed on a mix of ecstasy and bufotoxin. Joe had to be rushed to the emergency room.
I thought to myself, I will never touch a drug again. Just don't let Zippity-Doo-Bop Joe die. And for the first time in my life, I prayed.
Around 2 in the morning, Joe passed away. Jazzy knew it was time to make a change. He flushed his stash down the toilet and decided to take a break from the music and the drugs.
No one was sure he would come back. And if he did come back, no one was sure his talent would come back with him.
Jazzy Froggy had hit rock bottom. After putting his career on hold, Jazzy Froggy had no idea how to support himself. In a moment of sheer desperation, Jazzy visited a local Petco.
I diddly didn't know what else to doodly do.
However, it was then that Jazzy Froggy's life turned around. He was bought from Petco by a couple he came to know as Momily-Bop and Daddly-Bop.
I don't know what to say. Not my frog.
Earning his living as a dog's chew toy was challenging work, but it finally got Jazzy Froggy to see who he truly was. Between squeaky jam sessions with the dog, he began to experiment with jazz improvisation with another member of the family, the coolest person in the world. The Momily-Bop, Daddly-Bop, the coolest person in the world, and Shoobop began to recognize him as the jazz sensation he was. With their support, he was back on all 4 feet again.
I owe them everything, a ling, a ding, ding, ding.
Jazzy Froggy found the clarity of his new drug-free lifestyle invigorating. It was with this newfound inspiration that his album Diddly-Doo-Wop, Shoobop-adeedlee-beebop was born.
I poured my soul into these songs. Everything from Papa's got a new Shoobop-adeedlee-dee to Whenever you smoothly do, I feel biddly-bop. Came straight from the heart.
Proceeds from the album went to the foundation he started, previously drug-addicted frogs for a better tomorrow. That drew some heavy hitters from the music industry to pitch in to help. Jazzy Froggy had the opportunity to work with 2 of his idols, Christina Aguilera and the Swedish Chef, for his song, Zappa-Bop. Sales of his latest album have been soaring, with his new fans scrambling to buy copies. The songs even came bundled with purchases of the Leapfrog Learning Tablet and the iPod music player.
He's back, baby. And I can't wait to see what he does next.
New fans scrambling to buy copies. The songs even came bundled with purchases of the Leapfrog Learning Tablet and the iPod music player.